Hello guys, it's Mercy here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. And if you're new, don't forget to click the subscribe button and notification bell. I want to share you guys my first Europe experience this year. I'm in Budapest, capital city of Hungary. This time guys, no hop on, hop off. We try the walking tour with the tour guide, Esteban. Enjoy watching.
That's all right. Okay. Welcome everyone. My name is István. Thank you so much for booking the tour with me, and just some practical info, how it's going to look, what you can expect, and a little bit about me. So I've been living here in Budapest for the past 7 years. Originally I'm from Szolnok. It's a smaller city on the countryside, 100 kilometers from here, okay, not that far. And I moved here to study. I studied music at the university, so something completely different. I studied tourism, a bit of history. I started doing these tours 4 years ago, and over the years I did many different tours, different parts of the city, different topics. Today it's going to be a general tour, so we are going to see some of the main sites, some hidden gems. We're going to cover a bit about our culture, history, present day life, cuisine, politics. It's going to be an overview, a bit of everything, okay? And we are going to finish the tour 5-10 minutes from here at the end of this street, close to the chain bridge next to the river bank. So it's going to be easy for you to come back, continue your sightseeing, or have lunch, or carry on with your day, okay? Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you be a bit more enthusiastic? Are you ready?
Yes!
There you go. So usually the whole tour is going to be a bit interactive, okay? I'm not going to do this alone, so any questions you might have, let me know. Let's make this as kind of a, family gathering, anything that you have, yeah?
What kind of music did you study?
What kind of music? I have a performing arts degree in drums, so I studied I have a jazz diploma or kind, so I play popular music, like contemporary music. And usually at the beginning of the tour, I'm curious what you already know about the city, even before taking a tour like this. The whole tour is going to be interactive, okay? Give me 3 facts that you know about Budapest or Hungary. Make me proud how much you know in general. That's very good. Buda and Pest, they used to be 2 separate cities back in the day. And the unification happened in 1873. 150 years ago, Budapest was born throughout the Austro-Hungarian monarchy times. You see, from the middle of the 19th century up until the First World War, we weren't fully independent. We formed a dualist monarchy with the Habsburgs, with the Austrians. Vienna was the capital city. But Pest and Buda, they already counted as a second capital city. More and more people came here to live. The city was expanding. It was a matter of national pride of the Hungarians to make Pest and Buda just as inviting, just as big, just as colorful as Vienna. That's why the unification happened. That's why many of the main sites and modern day Budapest was built in those 50-60 years, just like the Basilica, the Great Market Hall, the Andrássy Avenue, Hero Square, Fisherman's Bastion, the Parliament. They were all built throughout these times. And actually they were arguing about whether to call it Budapest or Pest Buda. Thank God they went with Budapest, language experts at the time said that it kind of rolls off your tongue more rather than Pest Buda. And Buda used to be the royal seat throughout medieval times. Pest was just a smaller market town, like a trading center next to the capital city. Very good. 2 more things that you know.
This basilica was named Stephen after the first king of Hungary.
That's right. This is the St. Stephen's Basilica, primary religious site in our country. It's named after King Stephen. He was the first king of the Hungarian kingdom. He was crowned in the year 1000. That's the year when the Christian Hungarian state was founded. But our history begins a long way before that. We are going to cover it soon. If you just want to visit one religious site throughout your stay, let this be the one. Okay, it's really beautiful inside. The ticket office is right there on the corner at the bottom of that building if you want to visit it after the tour. Very good. One more thing that you know, maybe. You are trying so hard to lose eye contact with me.
The beer is good.
The beer is good.
Yeah.
Okay. People consume a lot of alcohol around here. Booze is really cheap, so adapt to the situation while you are here. And to be honest, Budapest or like Hungary is more known for wine than beer, because of the continental climate. we can produce all different kinds of wines. In fact, Hungary has like 22 different wine regions. One of them, the Tokai wine region, in fact, it's a UNESCO heritage, UNESCO protected wine region, UNESCO protected site. But yeah, beer is quite good nowadays. There are more like craft beer, you know, like self-produced beer houses, you know, popping up. And one beer here is around like €2 or something like that, sometimes even cheaper. So get use of that. I'm gonna recommend you some places later on. Let's go a bit further down, so you have some better views of the basilica straight ahead. Hey guys, how are you?
Combined ticket for the viewpoint under the basilica.
What's your name? Because you always like, you know, having like that from the and we always seizing the site in our country named after our first king who founded the Christian Hungarian state in the year 1000. But to be honest, this part of Europe at first, the first really great civilization here were the Romans. This was part of the Roman Empire, this part of Europe up until the 5th century. The Romans, in fact, they had a settlement here which was called Aquincum. Aquincum already derives from the word aqua, meaning water. Do you have a guess why the Romans named their settlement Aquincum around here? The river is not a bad guess, but that's right, the thermal springs. Budapest also has the nickname City of Spas because it's especially famous for these thermal springs and thermal spas. You see, there are more than 130 of these natural springs under the city and more than 20 spas. And many of these springs, when they come up, they are about 70 or 80 degrees hot, really close to boiling point, so they cool them down to 40, 42 degrees in order to be bathable. Many of these springs, they come from like 1 or 1.5 kilometers underground even, producing 60, 70 millions of liters of water every day. And the Romans had a big bathing culture, they already discovered them, hence the name for their settlement Aquincum. But eventually the Roman Empire would collapse. And then this great era of migration began, when many of these nomadic tribes arrived here and settled down looking for new fertile land, just like the Avars, like the Huns, and eventually the Hungarians, the Magyar tribes. And they arrived here in 896. But this is a symbolical year which historians chose in order to be able to celebrate it. And 104 years passed between 896 and the year 1000, and the Hungarians were already here. So like, what happened? How they teach it to us in school is that it's the adventures of the Hungarians, because at first you see they were these nomadic pagan tribes, they used bows and arrows and horses, and after they settled down they led different expeditions towards Western Europe, wanted to know what's what and where's where. To be honest, they went conquering, okay? They went plundering, looting, rampaging all over. Nobody really liked them. People even included them in their prayer at some point, that, oh God, just save us from the arrows of the Hungarians. This couldn't go on forever because you see they were pagan. Paganism was not accepted or tolerated by Western Christian nations. This is where King Stephen comes into the picture, because he was the one who converted all the people, broke off all the pagan traditions. That's why he became a saint as well 40 years later after he died. And the church was also built throughout the Austro-Hungarian monarchy times, finished this in 1905 after 54 years of construction. They would have finished it in about 20 years, but so many buildings got built, sometimes they forgot about the quality. There were some miscalculations. They built the whole church up, and after 20 years, the center dome collapsed. And then they had to start it all over again from scratch. That's why it took 54 years and 3 architects. They couldn't really decide what they want to do with the building. That's why it looks really eclectic. Bit of Renaissance, bit of Baroque, bit of Classicist. Many different styles are infused in the building. Still the highest one. The dome of it, it's 96 meters high. Can you guess why? Why is it 96 meters? I told you the answer already. That's right, it commemorates the year 896, the arrival of the tribes, and it's forbidden to build anything higher than that in the neighboring districts. That's why Budapest is generally a low-rise city. We don't have any skyscrapers. It's such an important year in our history. Go up to the dome, best viewpoint on the Pest side by far, and go inside the church. If you visit it, you will see one of our greatest national treasures preserved inside. Does any one of you know what I'm talking about?
Somebody's hand.
That's right, the mummified right hand of King Stephen. it's preserved inside. It's a relic dating back to the 11th century because 40 years later, after King Stephen died, they opened up his grave and they found nothing but his skeleton, except for his right hand, which from the elbow down was naturally mummified. Later on it was embalmed. It looks like this. Now it's only his fist what we
Yeah,
have.
that's why Daddy may
It's
buy it.
1,000 years back.
May
So,
mo
like,
pa siya.
it went somewhere missing. And we call it the Holy Rite because it's one of the legends associated with him. If you want to be a saint in the Catholic Church, you have to have like 2 or 3 proven miracles associated with you just for you to get even qualified as a saint, which is a paradox thing in itself. Like, how can a miracle be proven? But that's how it is. And they take the hand out once per year on August 20th. That's when we celebrate Hungary's birthday, and they take the hand out, march around with it here on the square and in the neighboring streets. They hold it up this high and, you know, worship it and follow it, parade it over, because that's the name day of all the Istvans, all the Stephens in Hungary. We celebrate name days as well, almost just as important as birthdays around here. And then they take it back. Does anyone of you know what's written on the main facade of the building?
Something about truth.
Yeah, veritas means truth, vita means life, or like dolce vita, you know. Anyone can translate it? I told you it's gonna be interactive. You have
I
to-
am the truth and the life.
That's right. I am the, like, via. Via, it means the way or the path. So I am the way, the truth, and the life, which is a quote from the Bible by Jesus. Let's go down that way, straight ahead. Just when starting to get prepared for the tour, I learned about them. The only aim of these kind of works is to make the city center more colorful, more livelier. Just for the enjoyment of the people, they are erected, they say, always without the color. So you can easily approach them, take selfies with them. The unofficial name are selfie statues, therefore. Many people like these works, many people don't. People who are especially interested in art and artists and statues in general, they will tell you that these are really kitschy and cliche works, and they don't mean anything, because the truth is they don't necessarily have to be erected or recorded. Historical figures are people who did something great in their lifetime to commemorate that. Budapest is not a playground or a theme park to erect these kind of meaningless works. 15 years he's been here and we don't know who he is. And I'm gonna show you one more picture which became a lucky charm. Try to find which part of the statue is the shiniest.
Ah.
Oh my god. I saw it.
Which part of it is the shiniest?
The one under.
I saw it. Laging nalilinis.
Yeah, this is an equestrian statue of András Hadi. He was a former commander of the Buda castle in the 17th and the 18th century. This can be found close to the Matthias Church and the Fisherman's Bastion. So probably you're going to go there throughout your stay. Since the 70s, students have been climbing up and touching the balls and the testicles of the horse. The rumor is that if you touch it, then you are going to pass all of your exams in the future. You know, my father used to do it back in the years. I used to do it a couple of years ago. Still has a big following. Is there someone who studies here?
No.
No one today? No one studies anymore? You study? Not that I don't believe in you.
I'm not gonna touch his testicles.
No. People from the tour always send me these videos that they went up. You have to fill them up like this for it to work. Okay, I did it all the time back in the years before. A bit further down, like a bigger semicircle, and then everyone can see. And I wanted to show you some smaller things today and some hidden gems as well. And have you seen these throughout your stay? Largest centralized memorials. They can be found in about 25 countries. And in 1941, Hitler said, "Help me invade Yugoslavia, and if we win, I will help you get back all of these territories. Let's make Hungary great again," etc., etc. You know, it's a really thin ice that we're walking on right now. Because Hungary and Yugoslavia, they had an eternal peace pact signed that they are not going to attack each other. But the Hungarians were the ones who didn't keep this promise. That's how we entered the war. And the deportations also began quite late. right now we are in the 5th district, and the 5th district is known as the financial quarter or like the economical center. Most of these buildings around, they are bank headquarters, our national bank, the treasury, the stock exchange headquarters. So it's a posh area. That's why we really cherish this little green space over here, and many controversial memorials around on Liberty Square. We are gonna go over them one by one. First of all, the one right in front of you, the eagle and the angel. What you can see under the eagle written, it says in commemoration of the victims of the German occupation. So this stop is closely linked to the one before. We are still on the topic of the Second World War, because I have to tell you that at the end of the war our government leaders realized that we are going to lose. They wanted to quit the war, they wanted to capitulate. But for Hitler, Hungary was a really important ally, in fact one of the last ones, and territory-wise it was really important. The Eastern Battlefront was coming closer and closer to our country. Eventually it became a war zone. So he wanted to stop us from quitting. That's why on March 19, 1944, he launched Operation Margareta, which was a military occupation plan of our country. But it's important to know that there was no resistance from our side. It was just a military occupation, which means that the country never lost its sovereignty. So the governor and the regent, they were still in place. And with this memorial, our government leaders want to send you the blurry one-sided message that everything what happened in terms of the Holocaust in Hungary, it happened after the occupation of the Nazis or as a result. It's true that it happened after, in the following months, chronologically speaking, but not exclusively as a result. Probably it would have happened anyway, maybe in smaller numbers. And with this memorial, our government says that, we didn't do anything wrong in the Second World War, it was just the fault of the Nazis and the Germans, which is a stinking lie, because it was never like that. There was a Hungarian Nazi party ruling here in 1944 called the Arrow Cross Party. There were some anti-Semitic laws in Europe, first in Hungary in 1920, 20 years before the World War. Many people question the taste of the memorial. You see the eagle on the top represents Nazi Germany. It's the imperial eagle. It has a ring on one of its feet saying 1944. The angel under it, that's Archangel Gabriel, one of our patron saints. He symbolizes the innocent Christian Hungary who had nothing to do with the Holocaust whatsoever, you understand? And the government decided in 2013 that they are going to erect a memorial like this. People found out, and even before it got erected, hundreds, thousands of people were here on the square demonstrating against it. And you know what the government did? 5 months later, at some point, they closed down this part of the square and they erected the memorial overnight. At midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we don't know, we weren't here. Can you imagine that you're coming here to work in one of the bank headquarters? One day there's nothing here. Next day you come again, the 2 statues and the writing appears, you don't even know what to do with it. So people kept on demonstrating. They covered the angel with a European flag, with a black flag, with toilet paper. Nothing really happened. But now it's a really powerful place. First of all, as you see, it became a tourist attraction. Second of all, if you look in front of it, you see all those leaflets and pictures and memorabilia and personal belongings. It's called a living memorial, and it's a counter memorial put up there by locals as an ongoing demonstration, and it will tell you the exact story what really happened in these years without trying to falsify history. You will find it in your own language as well. The English and German ones are right here on the left side, but it's written out in Hebrew, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Italian, in many languages. So I would like to give you 3-5 minutes to visit some of it, take some pictures if you're interested. I'm gonna be here on the left side waiting for you, okay? So 5
Tani, wala. Kinami mga lata.
Kailangan kami. Latang kami.
Tama.
So another thing that the city is quite known for, especially in recent years, it's as a filming location. As you see, Buda and Pest, they are both really old cities, and because of the turbulent history, both of these cities, they suffered many sieges. That's why the architecture in Budapest, it's really eclectic. We have remains of almost all the different architectural styles which were present in the last 10 centuries. These became under the radar of Hollywood film directors because they realized that if you shoot Budapest from the right angles, you can turn it into any city imaginable, with a bit of an exaggeration, of course. But I've seen films where Budapest is portrayed as Vienna, or as Moscow, or as Berlin, or as Paris. And especially these action flicks, action movies, like spy movies are especially well known here. Have you seen any films where Budapest was featured? Maybe a Mission Impossible, Die Hard 5 was shot here, although that should have never been released. It's like the first of all the Die Hard movies, if you've seen it. Also the new Blade Runner, Red Sparrow, I Spy, so like so many films. And this is the most well-known filming location probably. This is the former headquarters of the stock exchange, the stock market. Since 2009 it's empty. A Canadian investor bought the building. He said that he's going to turn it into a luxury apartments and a hotel. You see how well it's going. Like 13 years passed and nothing happened. But what he does now, he rents it out as a filming location. Many times we're doing here the tour and we see the cameramans and the filming crew because the inside looks exactly the same as, you know, the Paramount Pictures film studio. Did you know that it was founded by a Hungarian? His name was Adolf Cukor. He was a Hungarian Jew who emigrated to the States with his family at the end of the 19th century, probably because of the rising anti-Semitism already, and he founded the Paramount Pictures in 1915, which makes him one of the founding fathers of Hollywood, or 20th Century Fox. Yeah. Another Hungarian it was founded by, his original name was Fried Vilmos. Can you name any Hungarian inventions? Rubik is the inventor. He's still alive, by the way. He invented the cube in 1974, like 50 years ago. And as of today, most well-sold logical games in the world. In Israel, they call it the Hungarian cube, not even the Rubik's cube. And in a maximum of 20 steps, you can solve it from any position. It's proven. And altogether, there are 43 quintillion ways of scrambling the cube. Quintillion, it means 43. And 18 numbers after that, so the possibilities are like endless. Do you know what's the world record for solving the cube?
7 seconds.
The half of it, exactly. 3.47 seconds. 3.47 seconds is the world record. Is there someone who can solve it? I have some prizes with me.
It will take 5 minutes for me.
It takes 5 minutes?
Yeah.
You have 1.5 hours still. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
There you go, okay. Go for it. I also thought about all the others who can solve the normal one. Urban district nowadays, it's known as the party district or the nightlife center. That's where most of the ruin bars and clubs and bars in general are. You visit that area especially, it's also the hotspot for street art and for like urban contemporary sticker art, graffitis, giant murals, you know, wall paintings and miniature statues. There is an artist who is called Mikhail Kolotko, and he specializes in these miniature guerrilla works. He has about 40 of them all around in the city on a wide variety of subjects: cartoon characters, real life people, historical figures, and they always spread some kind of like stories and culture in general. Kermit is simply here because of the importance of this building as a filming location. Many Hungarian kids grew up on the Muppet Show and the Sesame Street in the 90s. That's the excitement! Hey, you deserve and you need a couple of drinks on me after 2 heavy days of sightseeing. And I'm gonna show you one more, just to give you a head start. Look, what do you see? Don't tell me it's Putin. It's not Putin playing the piano. I've been getting this comment for the last couple of weeks. I'm gonna tell you the story. So this is Rezső Seres. He was a Hungarian composer of the 20th century. He wrote one very famous song which is called Szomorú Vasárnap, or Gloomy Sunday in English. And since its release, this song is known as the saddest, most depressing song of all time. Because of its lyrics, because of its order. This is just an urban legend. Simply because of the Great Depression era, more and more people resonated with this song. They really thought that it's about them. In fact, it's really beautiful, really haunting little song, and how it became worldwide known. is that many American jazz artists covered it and they made it into a jazz standard. Listen to it, people like Billie Holiday, Ray Charles, Louis Armstrong, they all have a cover of this song. In the end, it got banned on BBC for 66 years, up until the year 2002 with all the other propaganda songs and inappropriate songs. And if you want to listen to it on YouTube, the original Hungarian version will have a pop-up message on YouTube saying that viewer discretion is advised. Are you sure you want to listen to it? Because this can lead to some suicidal tendencies.
Still more.
Budapest no matter what.
Nakalimutan ko mayroon ako niyan alam tatlong move.
Lasted for more than 50 days. I brought to you two pictures. Look at this. This is how the chain bridge and the castle district looked following the siege in 1945. The Hungarians and the Nazis themselves bombed all the bridges down. They sacrificed them simply. So they wanted to slow down the advancing Soviet soldiers. Where after the siege, they by our leader, he was called Mátyás Rákosi, and he copied so much that he earned himself a nickname. Do you know what his nickname was? Best student of Stalin. That already Union. He organized the secret police, the so-called KGB. From ROD.
Tourist? My vlog. Welcome to my vlog.
It's complicated. Before we continue, can we have a standing ovation for Rod because he managed to solve the Rubik's Cube. I can't leave you empty-handed for this. Have you seen these? This is something that you have to try while you are started to make these in the communist times, so like good timing. And since the 70s they make this according to the original recipe and original packaging. This is called Pöttyös túró, Rudi. This is a dark chocolate bar filled with some sweet cottage cheese or like curd cheese. I always
Cheese
look at
and
your face.
chocolate.
McDonald's partnered up with the Pöttyös brand, and now you can find the McFlurries and the McFreezes with the cottage cheese and with the dark chocolate just in Hungarian McDonald's. So congrats.
Can I make a photo?
Pöttyös túró, Rudi. How much of a less enthusiastic clap you got?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's because it's human nature. People became jealous, right? That's why it is. I know. Is there someone else? Ronald Reagan, former president. One of his most famous quotes. Do you know what it is? That's right, Mr. Ronald Reagan is walking from the Parliament building. You see,
Ronald Reagan.
into the Embassy of the United States, which you can see right there. If you turn around, you see that whitish building. I know it's partly covered by the trees, but not an impressive building anyway. Most well-protected building though throughout the country. You see the, you see the high fence. You can see the statue of George Bush Senior, in fact, as well in front of the embassy.
Hi guys, how are you all? Dito kami sa Budapest. Grabe, habang naglalakad kami guys, grabe ang lamig.
It's like a pastry shop and a coffee house and a restaurant. Inside, like right there at the back, that's where the restroom. Now just the lower house is getting used. The northern part, that's the visitor center. You can enter. There are 50-minute guided tours offered in all kinds of languages. Won't take your full day. However, if you're especially interested in the parliamentary system and the architecture, book your tickets online, okay? It's the most popular thing to do in all. 96 meters high, that's right. It commemorates the fact that the state and the church are the two pillars that our country is built on. it's forbidden to build anything higher than that. See, and nowadays it's a really cheesy thing to say, to be honest. For example, throughout the communist times, there was a 3-meter high red star on top of the parliament for 44 years. That's how they wanted to let everyone know that that ideology is even greater than Christianity and religion. And they built the parliament out of 37 million forints. You are shocked. You don't realize how much that is, right? We have this funny money called the forints. We are part of the European Union since 2004, almost 20 years, but we are one of the only countries who are part of the EU, not part of the Eurozone. We have the HUF or the forints. €1 is around 400 forints nowadays, plus my so-called upper house or lower house. They don't deserve this, by the way, you know, like this is where they meet every day, the National Assembly, or like every week or so, and there are 691 rooms, 26 inner courtyards, 20 kilometers of people don't need any more proof, okay? So you got your chance, you got your chocolate, you are disqualified from this game, okay? Just
Hungarian now.
fair for everybody. So raise your hand. If you shout it in, you're disqualified also. I do this pretty seriously. So the story goes that in 1986 there was someone who wanted to buy the parliament building. Who heard about this story? No one. Great. Okay, I'm going to tell. So in 1986 there was a pop rock band who came here to perform throughout the communist times. You know, it was a very big thing, the Western pop rock band entering an Eastern Bloc country. Here the people thought that the world is finally opening up. They didn't know, but in 3 years the Soviet Union would crush, so it was a, you know, it was a big thing. And this band spent a couple of days in Budapest. They did some sightseeing. And when they passed by the parliament building, the singer of the band said that, hey, what is this? Ah, there's a parliament building. Is it for sale? How many rooms are inside? Is there enough room for servants' quarters? Communist times, servants' quarters. You can understand that he offended the nation pretty bad, and like patriotism was high as ever, and it was making headlines in newspapers that what does he think of himself? He thinks he's a famous rock star and can buy the building. Go to hell, we don't want you here. It's not for sale, for God's sakes. And somehow he wanted to make up for his mistake. That's why he learned the folk song of ours in its original language and sang it in front of 70,000 people in the main arena. Everyone sang it with him. This is a song which mothers sing to their children at an early age. Everyone knows the lyrics except him. He had the lyrics written phonetically on the palm of his hand like this. 70,000 people and you're making a fool out of yourself singing like this. But Hungarian, it's always on these top 5 hardest languages to learn, with Japanese and Mandarin and Finnish. Do you know why? Because it's not a Slavic, not a Latin language. We are kind of on our own here in Europe. Hungarian is part of the Finn-Ugarian language family. So our closest neighbors in terms of linguistics are the Finnish and the Estonian, because these tribes, they came from the same area, from near the Ural Mountains, Central Asia, close to today's Kazakhstan. That's where they emigrated from. But early on they parted. The Finnish, Estonian, they went north. Hungarians migrated south. So now we don't understand each other. We just have some similar sounding vowels and words, and that's about it. But everyone forgave him in the end. And my question is, who he might be? Raise your hand if you have a guess. 1986.
The American.
Raise your hand if you have a guess. No, not a bad guess. Steven, not Aerosmith, no. Anyone else? Raise your hand. I want to be fair. Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses, not a bad guess. You know, I don't accept Glee. Do you know why? Because I used to accept it, and once it happened to me that someone said Glee, and I asked, who is the lead singer? And he said, Freddie Mercury. tram to got moderately famous, as we see in 2010, when it was voted by National Geographic as one of the top 10 most. And in San Francisco, and in Berlin, and in Amsterdam, you might have been to one of these cities. The tram too starts from the Margaret Bridge, the next bridge after that. After that, it circles around the Parliament and this area. That's right, because the one in London, the London Underground, this was built there as well. And there are so many different aspects how the two cities are different. First of all, if you look at the location. Gets green. After it gets green, let's try to go to the other side with the intention of bring on the second yard.
Kita yung motibo sa tuktok eh. Kaya kain mo pinakita si Pong. Asahin ka to? Wala.
What to see, what to do, this is something that I'll go on. But before I tell you what exactly happened here, I also have to tell you that despite everything that we've covered, there were so many people who tried to help Jewish people escape and to save them from the persecution. They have a collective name all around the world. They are called righteous among the nations. Righteous among the nations, it's an award or a prize given out by the state of Israel. All the people saved or give Jews throughout this time. As of today, there are like 28,000 people who receive this award in their lifetime. They were diplomats and they gave out these so-called Schutzpasses or gave out these big.
Dami ni. Iba-ibang shoes.
Never used for defense. It was never even built for defense. It's not part of the original castle wall. It was built especially for you as a tourist attraction. Because they wanted to provide a nice setting for the church towards the river. That's why they built the viewpoint and the lookout point. Over there for sunset or after sunset, it's really nice way to see some parts of Pest and some parts of Buda, especially after everything gets illuminated. Nothing much remained from medieval times. I have a big trivia question for you. It's gonna be interesting. So we started in front of the basilica. Who is it named after?
Stephen.
King Stephen. Which part
King
of it can
Stephen.
we find inside the basilica? His hand. Okay, when did the tribes arrive? 896. Then we walked down the street and we bumped into a statue. What's the name of the statue? We had police for Uncle Carl. We turned right. We've seen those stones commemorating Jews. What's the name of the stones? Stumbling stones. You see the Nazi occupation memorial. Went to the middle of the square. We've seen Kermit. And I told you about another small statue honoring the song. What's the name of the song? Gloomy Sunday. You're carrying the group, man. You know, it's amazing. Let's give the others a chance. Gloomy Sunday. We've seen the Soviet occupation memorial. What was the name of the regime? What we had from the 60s? Goulash communism. What was the main export of goulash communism? Music, that's right. Then we bumped into another Hollywood star facing the Soviet memorial. What's his name? Ronald Reagan, that's right. We've seen the parliament. How high is the parliament?
96.
96, which is the other building which is that high. The Basilica, that's right. Who wanted to buy the parliament?
Freddie
Freddie
Mercury.
Mercury. Is Hungarian cuisine unhealthy? No, that's right. Which is the fancier side, Pest or Buda? Buda. When was the shoes memorial erected?
In
2005. What's the name of your guide? Islam. That's right. Congrats. Clap yourselves. And now, because you all participated, everyone before leaving can get one of this. Since the 1920s, it's made here. The oldest produced candy what we have dates back to the Austro-Hungarian monarchy times. Look at what's the
Negro.
name of it.
Negro.
Negro.
See? really politically correct. But you don't always have to think of the worst thing possible. Negro in Spanish, it
Black.
means black. The candy itself, it's black. It's called the chimney sweep of the throat, and this contains this kind of anise seeds. Okay?
Anise?
And it's a favorite. It was a favorite of artists or singers when they had a sore throat or a cold, but they had a performance during the evening. This is what they used on their throat. That's about it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.